if it is so. Or if we are just at peace and happy, not worrying at all, and just resting like this without any such problem. Because if it were so, if we were truly happy, then we would never feel uncomfortable. Both cannot coexist. This is the general discovery leading to the understanding that the Buddha spoke of in our own mind. If we want to do this discovery, it just doesn't come from intellectual mind games. It will never come from having understood it with the head. It will not come like this. It will only come because one actually has an initial, you can say, an initial trust in that what the Buddha said being of value, and that this value is worth to be verified. So here comes in what we would generally call the path. The path is where we actually practice the meditation that leads us to further understand our own mind. That's what it's all about. The meditation is looking at our mind. There's nothing more than this, and all the techniques one may apply in the different Buddhist traditions, they are actually given so that we can come to this one point. If we don't believe this to be the important point, we may do whatever tradition, whatever Tibetan Tantric Buddhism, whatever Zen Buddhism, or Theravada, or yoga tradition, or Gnostic mystic tradition, whatever. If we are concerned with finding things somewhere else, we will never discover what our own mind is about. It will just never happen because we are not concerned with it. So we are using methods that maybe are given in a context where actually we just play with it. We just think it nourishes us. But the true nourishment comes actually from doing the true discovery inside. The true discovery of our own present state, and the discovery of first it being limited, but then also that this present state we believe to be limited is constantly changing. So there is freedom in it. It is not endowed with a self. So since it is not endowed with a self, it is open. There is no need to hold to anything because there is, in the end, nobody who needs to keep it. So that brings forth a tremendous joy because the long, long way we went to protect ourselves finds to an end. Ourselves who were so well taken care of with all this hazard during life and life, during endless times, can suddenly come to an end, and this effort doesn't have to be made because one knows one doesn't need to do it for somebody who is not there in the same way we believed him to be. We might discover that everything we thought to be true actually is just thoughts. All belief, all assumption within this world, within our own present mind, is just a chain of never-ending thoughts, one after the other, trying to make sense out of the whole story, trying to give some direction, trying to fulfill aims, trying, like very long chains. And if we look further, these chains, they don't only come one time. The same stuff comes again and again and again and again. Well, if it has ever led to something, coming that many times, it most probably would have given any proper result. There would be something that had come about in order to provide what these thoughts were thinking of. Why is there absolutely a need to spin the same thought millions of times? If the thought would do its job, it would have done it quite early. Maybe the first time it would, if it would really lead to it. So then, the more aware we get of our present situation is, we discover that mostly the thoughts run at random, without anybody being home, without anybody getting the story even. If we look truly, we might discover that we most probably spent the whole day thinking of something that was not in relation to what we were doing, but thinking. And when we then look further, well, how much of this content in thinking actually has led to something? How many of those thoughts I needed for this day? And how many of these thoughts have put myself in the very center of it? So sometimes the beginning, not quite always, the beginning of the meditation path is an unpleasant one. There's no promise about anything else. It's an unpleasant one because we discover where we are. We don't discover anything far away, a golden land where the milk flows down in rivers and we'll be all at peace. We discover who we are, what we are, and that's why the Buddha spoke in first about confusion and about the root of confusion. Without going by that, we will be constantly cheating ourselves. We can't do otherwise. And it's not a problem. The problem is not seeing anything. The true quarrel is constantly looking away from what happens, because it happens anyhow. Why should it not happen that we see thoughts are running at random if we sit down, but why should it be different when we run about? So here in meditation we don't do much actually. The meditation we will see today is very simple. It is first discovering where we are and trying to calm the mind so that we can see a little better. Because we know when everything is running at random, then actually, well, it would be just like everything else. It would be not having a different quality, so we won't see any further. This is why when one speaks of meditation, one can also say we put boundaries. Boundaries as we don't move about. And then on top of that, we don't move about, you can say, in different steps. We don't ponder about the past events that may have happened to us. The thoughts coming in, I've done that and so on. What did it to me, and how was I in there? And the whole lullaby we have for our times, always trying to make sense out and who was where and where the joints are, the links between all the events, and we have gone so far. Well, the past in meditation is simply the past. If we look at the present, it is not the present. It is not there. The past is past. So it doesn't need to be entertained in meditation. There's no need to add thoughts about things that have happened.